Good morning, everyone. Another Friday, another episode 219.
And more problems with Marcin's internet connection. Another week,
Of course,
more problems with his internet connection.
It became a tradition, but yeah, it reminds me that this is yet another Friday on the way. And we are today joined by an amazing and well-known guest from multiple communities, Jeroen. How are you, Jeroen? How are you?
Yeah, hi. I'm fine. It's good to be on my first session with you guys.
Oh, we need to send you a mug, so everyone that comes on gets a mug, a nice piece. We'll make sure you get one of those somehow.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Long time no see. We have seen each other definitely too far away in time from now on. But yeah, we've been all going through the Corona-related event. Cancelled policies recently, but right now we are back on track, and we are still continuing exploring software in the various matters. And you've been very active recently as well on many platforms. And today we are definitely also going to tackle some of these activities. But long history. When you've started becoming a part of the communities, and what is your background in this area?
Well, I think I started in 2009 and created my first media-related packages then. And
it was for Umbraco CMS, right? Then.
Yes, that's right. For Umbraco, it was I created the Digibus Advanced Media Picker. That a lot of people used in V4 projects, and then I actually stopped development for it because V5 was coming, and I was like, I couldn't port it to that, and they already said there was going to be a better media picker in that, so I didn't really spend any new time on it. Well, then we all knew what happened, and suddenly everyone was using the Digibus Advanced Media Picker again, and at some point it became so popular that it also helped me getting my first MVP award.
Fantastic. As Marcin said, an incredibly long history with Umbraco, and you've been around the community for a long time. And I remember one of the first packages I would have installed, probably, and maybe the first Umbraco site I created was the DAMP package. So that's fantastic.
And I remember hybrid framework. That was something.
Yes.
What we used in some of the projects.
Yeah, first there was DAMP, and then because I was an MVP, I was allowed to go to the retreat. And while being at the retreat, I could work together with Stefan and Shannon. And with the help of them, I was able to create the hybrid framework and share all the knowledge that I learned from them in an open source package, so I could give it back to the community.
Nice. Okay, so we will definitely together today explore some of your recent contributions as well, and what are you up to next. So let's explore it, and you have a small demo for us today as well to be released later on. Let's jump to the news then, and let's start from events. So yeah, 24th and 25th March was the big days in the community because there was a SACCON. What is the correct pronunciation of the event name?
SUCCON.
SUCCON. Yeah, SUCCON Europe. And you've been attending there. How would you summarize it in short? What was released? What's new? What's happened there?
So the main focus is that currently it's one big monolith, and they are definitely moving more to composable DXP. So more and more. Instead of a platform as a service, it becomes more of software as a service. So they are switching more to a modular approach where you only get what you need. For example, if you want to use personalization, then there's a module for that. For products, there's a module, and that's really the focus that they're approaching.
Fantastic. So that was, I think we were discussing before we went live, that was the kind of the keynote and everything kind of focused around that at this event. So as far as I know, the event's community organized. It's not officially done by the HQ, but it's something that people from all over the community coming to talk about the work they've been doing, the newest versions, and as you say, the evolution of the product.
Yeah, so that's definitely the direction that they're going in, and one of the new things that they also announced for it is XM Cloud. It's a cloud version of the product for headless use.
This looks really interesting. So it's like a Microsoft Azure based managed hosted version.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the one. There are still different versions, but I think this is still the PaaS solution and not the SaaS one yet.
Interesting.
But so one of it's really focused on being composable, and that also means that, for example, in the default version you already had personalization in it, and that now becomes with XM Cloud. If you want to use personalization, then you need that as a composable DXP extension that you can add to it. So you don't need it. And actually, personalization used to be part of XP, but now with CM, they're only porting certain parts to the cloud, so not everything. And if you still want those XP features, then it's going to become something composable.
General offering is like a platform as a service, like software as a service. When you just pay a monthly fee, you have a managed instance of it. You can extend it. You can just align to workflows out there. You don't need to worry about the hosting, the general management of the infrastructure as well. But you can also extend it with some custom custom points.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, so they do the hosting for you, but they also do auto upgrades. You can just connect it to your own GitHub repo. If you want, for example, load balancing, that's a bit more difficult, of course, because they do the hosting, but they do have, they also have a composable extension for that called Experience Edge. It's kind of like a CDN so you have your content in XM Cloud, and then you can push that to Experience Edge and fetch the content from like a CDN, and by doing that, you don't need a load balance anymore.
That's very smart. So that's like a CDN that they manage and that you don't have to worry about. It's one of these, as you say, composable options. You can tick a box and it's then a part of your solution and you don't have to worry about it. So it'd be similar to them, say, putting like Cloudflare or something similar in front of it, but they control it.
Yeah.
But we've seen this trend across the recent vendors that it's just handling of the kind of problematic administrative tasks and something what is very complex on the infrastructure level, and just let people, editors, and also users focus on what matters the most. So deliver the business values, the content managed platform, basically, instead of just wasting and spending a lot of time on the bits that are maybe possible to be hidden. And what about technology stack behind it? Was it also tackling the idea of utilizing the recent .NET Core functionalities? Because we know it's also tricky and all the time tricky in terms of migrations from the last and previous .NET Frameworks versions. How's the approach for the .NET Core, and what was announced on this area?
Well, they're not converting anything to .NET Core, but they don't have to, because everything is composable. So if you want to use .NET Core, then basically, if you have the Experience Edge, which pushes the content to a CDN, then you can just have your own .NET Core app and consume that content again if you want to. So
like a headless approach.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's a headless approach. So that is their approach to moving to .NET Core.
So that's a really interesting idea, that rather than trying to migrate the whole thing, which is this big monolith, as you said, they're trying to split it into bite-sized chunks, migrate each one. And something very interesting that you said before we went live, which I like, was the bigger pieces like analytics or personalization. They may decide actually that becomes a new product. So they may acquire a company or make a couple of acquisitions, build effectively a new personalization product, and say, well, stop using that, migrate to our modularized approach, and then they don't have to migrate legacy. They're just driving things forward.
And that works really well. And one of the new things that we're also doing with that is that, of course, the concept of being composable is nice, but how are you gonna combine all of that? There are things like there are connectors where in the CMS you can select products from your other service, but then you still have the connection in the CMS. So then you still have your CMS, and that fetches product information from there, and maybe CRM information from there, but you still need the CMS to combine it. So that is in its own maybe still kind of a monolith, or at least it's not something that is also composable and swappable. And what they're also releasing is something new called front-end as a service. And basically with that, they go one step further. So it's a drag and drop builder where you can get your all of your composable DXPs together. And
like a kind of Microsoft Flow or the Logic apps, where you can kind of connect two bits of two completely independent.
It's
maybe micro front ends communicating with the direct API endpoint, something like that, right?
And by doing that, it also becomes CMS independent. So you can get your products from one service, personalization from that service, but it's also possible to fetch content from Umbraco if you want with hardcore.
That's incredibly interesting to see what's going on there, and I think you said got incredibly innovative stuff. The moving of the separating of the concerns into individual bite-sized chunks just makes loads of sense. They've got an Azure hosted managed platform with composability at its key. They've got content delivery and things. I can't think of any other CMS platforms out there that are doing this, which is really exciting to see. So and as you get it all in one place, don't you? You get all of your options.
Yeah, exactly. The front end
another service if you want as well.
Yeah, exactly. Even the front end as a service is like a composable DXP add-on that you can use.
We've heard this term DXP a lot recently. It's a very trendy term. And, I still think I don't quite understand what it means. But actually, the example that we're talking about here does make sense as an idea of composable. Maybe not. Well, yeah, I guess it's a composable platform, but composable bits of infrastructure and bits of functionality that you just plug in and add on. That seems seems great, and it seems to be very geared up for that out of the box.
Yeah.
And one major question right now is it already available? Is it something what we can immediately use, or is it something
No,
what we need to wait
these
for?
are no. It's a bit like at Code Garden. It's you during the keynote you get a roadmap. This was also a roadmap that they demoed at SUCON. It's going to be available somewhere this year.
Exciting.
We will definitely link up the links to the information. Yeah, I think this is essential because we need to just sign up for being alerted about it, because I'm sure that it would bring some kind of improvements to the general process of developing, or alternative to the well-known and established approaches which we usually follow when it comes to development. So that's exciting. Probably a lot of other interesting news as well. I was following the Twitter thread. I was following also Polish community members that were involved in the organization of the event itself. There was a lot of interesting stuff being shared, and it's hard to recap. It's in the very quickly episode. So definitely more of the videos to come.
I was going to ask how was it going to an in-person? It was in Budapest. This conference.
Yeah, Budapest.
How was it going to an in-person conference? It looked like glorious sunshine as well for the first time.
yeah, it was beautiful weather. It was really perfect. It was just like it felt like it has always been a bit like going to your first Code Garden again, where you're just so happy to meet all these people again and just being together. And in the beginning, of course, everyone is still a bit careful, but that was only in the beginning, and it became normal again really quickly.
That's very, very interesting. Very good. Well, it's great to hear about what you've been up to and some of the great, fantastic news that's been going on in the community. We had some releases as well. Maybe we could take a quick look.
Yeah. That's right. Maybe I can start with my demo, or that.
I think so. We've got a few things here that are. Oh, go on. Let's do it. Let's go with your demo because the releases all relate to this. So.
Exactly.
This hybrid placeholder.
Tell us more about it.
And actually, this seems very, very cool. So I'll just let you talk about that because, of course.
Sure. Maybe if I give a demo, then you're seeing my screen. Cool. So I'll just give a demo what the hybrid placeholder does, and then people can understand really quickly what it does and how it works. So this is a regular site, and it has a headless setup. It's a single page application that is just using the headless endpoints. So when I navigate between pages, then it's as you can see, it's just a regular call to fetch some JSON, and since it's a single page application built by React, it just goes really quick. So navigating between pages, they load instantly. They just fetch some JSON, and React re-renders it. It doesn't even refresh the entire page, but just updates the virtual DOM. Basically what a single page application is, of course. But if you're having when you navigate to another page, it needs to release the JSON, and if that JSON that it generates becomes slow, so will your page, of course. So again, if I navigate to this, the JSON is really fast, so the page is really fast. But if I now navigate to this page, then the JSON is slow, and then the page becomes slow as well. Just as you can see, if I navigate to it, it's loading here, pending, and then once the headless call is ready and the JSON is ready, only then will we get an update and the user doesn't get any feedback because it's a single page application, it's just waiting for the call to be ready, and that doesn't just work really well. And what I did with the hybrid placeholder is that when you're building your page, you can actually split the data that you want to show on the page in 2 calls, and you can first just fetch the data that is fast, and then do the heavy lifting with a secondary call. Maybe I'll should quickly show some code. I think it's zoomed in pretty well. So basically, this is how we build a component. It's pretty similar to how you build a model in a controller, of course. So here we get all the data. Here we get all our CMS data, and we. This is just a view model that we have here. We built the data, and we want to show a heading and a text. But in this example, to make it a bit noticeable, here I just add a thread that sleep for 4 seconds, and then I add the date. So that is basically why navigating to the normal page takes 4 seconds, because it needs to render the entire page in one go. And with the hybrid placeholder, it's actually split into 2 calls. So first, we can just get our content again, we can actually build our model, but then we can already return this data to the user and give them already feedback and show the new page with this data. And then while the new page is already loaded, we can do a secondary call and then do the heavy code, and that can be fetched async later. So if I now navigate to the page, then we see that the page loads instantly. You have loading, and then we see the date, and you can see that it actually loads 2 calls. So the first call just fetches the JSON for the entire page, and then the secondary call just fetches the data with only the date that we need, and not the other information. And that is basically what the hybrid placeholder can do. So just split it up in 2 calls, and it's a bit of back-end work and a bit of front-end work, of course, but that is all part of the package. So if you have a regular placeholder in React, just replace it with the hybrid placeholder.
So this becomes something you can drop into.
Plug and play.
Yeah, exactly. I have some instructions here. You just you install the package. So it's you install the package that has the DLLs for the backend stuff, and there's also an npm package that you need to install for the front end stuff. Use that in React, and then it's working. So if you want to use the hybrid placeholder, make sure that you use this placeholder in React. Then make sure that you split the heavy lifting, make that run that async, and then in your React component, you actually get the data that you need, but you also get a loading state. So based on that loading state, as you can see in the GIF here, if you navigate, it first shows the loading state and then the data that is fetched. And you could do this with a regular web API call. So you just instead of doing this code that is heavy, maybe in a separate web API call, but there are some issues with that, because let me just quickly get the official documentation for that.
I must say you really well documented stuff like
Thanks.
and it's really clear to understand why also it was created and what issues it's solving. And again, for all the old old school developers, it might remind some of the update panels in the initial.
Yes,
and
yes,
stuff like that, because,
I understand that it looks a bit like that, but it's completely separate. It's using just React web APIs.
It's very lightweight as
and-
well, right? It's like just to get the really light content first, make sure that it's response. And again, we know how response and the initial page load is important right now, and the rest can just follows, and React and all the other front-end frameworks can help us with deferring it. And here you can just divide the content calls.
Exactly.
Into.
So basically, you just, instead of your normal rendering content resolver, you just use the hybrid rendering content resolver, split your content, and then it works. And one of the benefits of using this is that you always have the context. So if you have a separate web API, you don't have authorization, you don't have the content that you're currently on, you don't have your current page, things like that, they don't work. And by using the hybrid rendering content resolver, you have that data available. And one thing that it actually also does is that if you navigate to the page as a single page application, you get the loading state, so the page is fast. But if you do a normal refresh, then it is actually loaded directly. So it still supports server-side rendering. So if you, for the user, the navigation becomes really quickly and a smooth experience, but it still works for SEO as well.
Yeah. That was my another question, because usually it's something what makes the challenging decisions in terms of should we support the server side rendering here as well, right? But it sounds like you've covered all of it, and it looked like an interesting and very impressive piece of work that we'll definitely find out some use cases amongst our projects as well. I definitely can't wait to make more explorations of it.
I do like how this becomes just, as we said, like a drop-in. You don't have to totally re-architect your application or anything. Keep all your code in one place and all together. Separate your logic properly, and then your
exactly. So
performance side of things.
Yeah, most developers are just already using this approach, so they only need to split it and drop it in, and it works.
Yeah. Maybe as a part of interaction with our viewers, let us know if you're already using it, and if you will find the placeholders to be replaced by the hybrid framework, hybrid placeholder, hybrid framework, by hybrid placeholder, because again, if it would solve some of the issues you are currently facing with your projects, that would be really interesting feedback. And if you haven't seen the hybrid placeholder yet, go and check it out, and we will definitely link up the link to the GitHub repo and documentation and this blog post you shared with us, because that's definitely highlights also the known issues and whys as well.
And then we can maybe just quickly talk about the technology that this is based on, of course, which is the Headless rendering framework. So I didn't know this until today, but actually it ships with a full headless implementation out of the box, or is this one of these composable options, I'm guessing?
Yes, indeed. It is a paid extension that you need to use, but it is very popular, and it's been out there, I think, 3 or 4 years already. And they don't only have the headless rendering, but they also provide a lot of NPM packages. So instead of just the GSS calls in the backend, they also come with a React application, a Vue application, everything. So that is something that was very helpful to get started, that you don't have to start with a React app from scratch where you don't know how to integrate everything. No, there's just a create React app command that you can use in the CLI, and it just builds that for you.
Yeah, and also as usual, it's well documented, and I followed some of the descriptions out there, and they are very clear and clean. And this example, as you've mentioned, is just we got used to it. So like we can just copy and paste and adjust instead of just build everything from scratch and reuse whatever was done already. So yeah, we'll also link it up here for anyone who might not know about it yet.
Of course, this isn't like you're relying on something that's totally proprietary or anything. This is something that's very well maintained. Even I think this was in February sometime. We got a new release of the LayoutService, which is, from what you're telling me, your own is kind of the backbone of some of this stuff as well, and the corresponding packages. So a new software abstraction to make rendering JSON, I guess, and then a generic library too. We got new releases for that. So it's something that's being actively supported, I guess.
Yeah, but also, Callum, we were talking about it last week, probably about the small versus big packages, all the components, and how it can connect to the bigger pieces of packages or software. And here it's I think right now we have a good example of how it can be divided, how it can be shipped in the smaller chunks, and how it can be extended as well, because we've mentioned probably the word composable too many times today, but it is composable. It is really plug and play, extend and adjust workflows, and we can decide and choose the puzzles to play with. So really exciting stuff. So yeah, thanks for the demo. And yeah, these packages were also related with this release on today's list. GitHub link, headless rendering documentation, and of course we'll probably collect some of the following blog posts and summaries of the SUBCon, because they are still popping out, they are still coming out, and the hashtag is still hot on Twitter, even though the event happened a week before.
Still running my blog as well.
Okay, so we'll definitely link it up as well when it will be live. And again, that was most of the news from this week. Everything was definitely around SUBCon and all the new exciting stuff to discuss and announce there. Definitely, whenever the roadmap will be available, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll update and come back to the new exciting announcements. And as usual, if we missed anything, let us know, because we've been also too involved in the event and also the things around it. So let us know if we missed anything exciting, what we might not be involved into this episode. Anything else to add, Callum, from your perspective?
No, as you said, Marcin, lots of news from the community this week, but I think we've covered it all.
Yep. So yeah, thanks again, Jeroen, for your input, and keep us busy and posted with anything new, what you are sharing. We still continue following what exciting you will build it up next, whatever hybrid exciting new package you will come up with. And yeah, we really hope to see you soon on some physical in-person events
I'm probably
on
going
the
to
roadmap for the last.
So. Oh, exciting!
Good. Exciting. Yeah. Cool. So thank you very much. Have an exciting rest of the day and the weekend ahead. And as usual, like, subscribe, share it amongst your colleagues and friends. Let them subscribe. We have some goal for this year. Until the next SUBCon, we want to have 1,000 subscribers. Yep. So yeah, help us reach out this goal. We have plenty of time, and yeah, as usual, we'll see each other on the next Friday. So have a good week and keep us busy with the news for the next episode. Thank you, everyone.